Hello, hello, hello. How you doing? How you doing? My name is Vaughn Stone. I am a music producer and educator, so I don't have too much time, but pandemic, blah 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 blah, you know the rest. And I got into the Gacha community, and it's been quite fun. It's been very, very interesting. Got to meet a lot of people, meet a lot of friends, all that good stuff. But I started noticing a lot of very interesting and troubling patterns, and I guess I just wanted to, throw my hat into the ring and see what happens. Not really here to really make a name for myself all that much, but I mean, if it happens, it happens. But yeah, right now I'm just doing it for the love of the game. Before we get started, if you have any feedback for me, because I do want to try and I guess make this a little bit of a habit, bit of a creative outlet, feel free to leave some comments down below, and I'll do my best to address them. So before we get started, I should be having timestamps or a table of contents here. So if you are interested in only specific topics, feel free to skip around and listen at your heart's content. If you're here for the long haul though, appreciate you. And let's just get into it because we've got a lot to talk about, discuss, and address. Okay, so before we get into anything, I think it's really important that we set the groundwork for the conversation and what it entails. So let's start at the very, very beginning and make sure that we're all on the same page. We're going to be talking about loyalty here. Loyalty is a true and genuine bond. It's a commitment you have to a person, in this case, a game or a community based on mutual respect, shared interests, and a genuine belief in its value. Whether it's friends helping each other in co-op, content creators supporting their audience, or a community coming together to celebrate the things they love, loyalty is earned and it gets built up. It's a catalyst to building long-lasting relationships that go beyond proximity, background, and creed. But it can also be the gateway, reason, or excuse for a person or community to go astray. Blind loyalty is an unconditional devotion to an ideal or a goal, no matter the consequences. It's an unthinking obedience where you're so focused on the destination that you completely ignore the humanity of those around you. It's a loyalty that demands you turn a blind eye to flaws and ignore the moral implications of your actions. Now, if you're familiar with the character Sunday from Honkai Star Rail, then this theme should be quite familiar to you. He's blindly loyal to his ideal of a sweet dream, a future where suffering is alleviated, even if it means robbing people of their own free will. He justifies his actions at the cost of people's autonomy and agency, believing the pain he causes is a necessary price for a perfect world. If you're familiar with Pain from the Naruto series, then I'm sure you can see the resemblance as well. He was also blind by his ideal of wanting to stop war indefinitely. He sought to achieve this by becoming a military superpower and forcing a brutal peace upon the world, believing that his end goal justified the means, including extreme violence. Now, both of these characters are tragically similar. They're so consumed by their ideals of a forced peace that they rationalize and justify their actions at the cost of others. They're so blindly loyal to their own vision that they can't see the destruction they're causing. This isn't just a story about video game characters, it's a reflection of how we, as a community, have started to behave, and it's a line that gets blurrier and blurrier every single day. If you're really, really familiar with those series and those characters, you know how their story ends. But what does that mean for us in the community? What does that mean for the blind loyalty that's taken hold in our community? Well, the long-term effects, both on an individual and community level, are really, really damaging. Well, first, a culture of blind loyalty actively discourages honest feedback and dissenting opinions. When every critique is perceived as an attack, the risk of speaking up escalates far beyond a simple exchange of ideas. People are encouraged to contribute opposing thoughts simply because the price of doing so is too high. This harmful dynamic creates immense pressure on figureheads in the community, especially content creators. They can't offer genuine criticism about certain game aspects, mechanics, quality of life changes, or even the game as a whole, without facing a barrage of intense backlash. Going against the perceived grain of their audience often results in attempts to cancel them, spread slander, or circulate baseless rumors designed to erode their reputation. Even when creators or players genuinely dislike a certain update or design choice, they feel compelled to stifle their true opinions and feedback to maintain the status quo. It becomes safer to stay silent or to offer lukewarm praise rather than risk the wrath of a community fiercely protective of its chosen game. This means legitimate issues go unaddressed, and the game itself misses out on valuable, constructive input. Perhaps one of the most insidious long-term effects is the reductive lens this blind loyalty encourages. When encountering an opposing opinion, the conversation is often stripped of all nuance. A deep, thoughtful discussion about the game's intricate mechanics or even philosophical themes is reduced instantly to often a mischaracterized sentence or position. This doesn't just misinterpret the person's argument, it often attacks their character itself. You're not just wrong, you're a hater or Hoyo shill or Kurobot or somebody with a hidden agenda. The rich tapestry of ideas, the multiple facets of a discussion are flattened to a simple us versus them, destroying any chance for genuine understanding or progress. This toxic environment doesn't foster growth, it just further creates walls of division.
Wuthering Waves and dislikes Zenless Zone Zero.
No, I like Zenless Zone Zero. I think the game's just turning into shit and has been progressively getting worse every update, so I make content about how bad it's getting because it used to be good. No, this is just a lie, unfortunately. No, it's literally, when I make, like, you can...
At its core, a game should be an accessory to your life, an enjoyable way to spend your time, not your entire identity. In a healthy community, acknowledging flaws doesn't equal an attack on the game, its creators, or the people that play it. It's simply a part of a productive discussion aimed at making something better. When it comes to discussing a game, we have two very different avenues: objective data and subjective feelings. Well, first, there's the objective truths. Things like a character's damage output, the HP inflation of certain bosses and enemies, the power creep that comes with subsequent new characters. These are all things that can be tested, calculated, disproven, corrected, and interpreted through a critical lens. This data is produced by dedicated players who spend hours creating spreadsheets or running simulations. Their work is a valuable source to the community, helping players understand the game's mechanics on a deeper level. But here's where that blind loyalty can do a lot of damage. In this environment, objective data can be maliciously created or disingenuously interpreted to serve a certain narrative. It becomes a weapon to spark controversy and spread misinformation. The people who create these detailed calculations are few, but the players who use this information to reinforce their own biases are quite numerous. They have no incentive to interpret the data objectively, only to serve the tribe they're loyal to. Then there are subjective discussions, which arguably have a lower barrier to entry. Things like games themes, character designs, or storytelling. These are far more accessible and can bring up community together. They are based on personal tastes and feelings, which are meant to vary from person to person. A subjective topic shouldn't be seen as a monolith of a community's general consensus, and expressing a different opinion shouldn't be seen as an attack. However, these opinions should still be rooted in some sort of reasoning. First and foremost, an opinion should be an open door to a discussion, not a weapon to shut down the conversation entirely.
Crazy thing, by the way, I saw this reply on my tweet. Where was it? I thought it was funny because this was my reaction to their comment. Oh yeah, this guy's, yeah. He said, while Frolova's writing is 100 times better than Kart's, way deeper and way more moving. You know what reading this reminded me of, coming from someone named Tommy Bolton? It reminded me of r/I'm 14 and this is deep. The whole fucking subreddit based on like people like Jaden Smith thinking they're like fucking 14-year-olds and just like, it's deep. Oh my god, it makes you made me think for days. I might be missing something because I don't like Frolova, but I don't get what Frolova's story quest had you thinking for days about. Like genuinely, like there was a reply that said Frolova's quest, except Frolova's quest had me thinking for days. I'm like, about what? What are you thinking for days about? I don't really get it, man. Oh yeah, this one, okay. 2.2 made me hype for a day. 2.5 made me think for days. Perfect way to describe it. Best description. I'm like, what are you thinking for days about after Frolova's quest? This is like, these replies make me really think to r/I'm 14 and I think it's deep.
Now, before you start rallying for your favorite company or game or anything of that sort, I think something really obvious needs to be said. Companies are made of people and people aren't infallible. Amazing, groundbreaking, I know. They'll make mistakes, they have blind spots, and as consumers who use products that are constantly evolving, we want and deserve accountability and transparency when things do go wrong. And we've seen it firsthand in this community. Honkai Star Rail adjusted the kits of characters like Silverwolf and Jing Liu to keep them relevant to the changing meta. They also added a skip button for the story, sort of, and even made a public announcement when the Amphoria's arc didn't meet expectations. Wuthering Waves had a rocky start, but they established a really solid reputation for themselves by listening to player feedback and implementing changes from in-game surveys into subsequent updates. Even Zenless Zone Zero, which had its own issues with TV mode, has since made changes to reduce the mechanic in the future and providing buffs to characters that were, well, underperforming. These companies with billions of dollars, countless employees, contractors, musicians, dev teams, all of that, are capable of admitting when they've made a mistake, for the most part. They can change their trajectory, own up to their flaws, and work to create a more mutual beneficial relationship for their audience. We as individual players and consumers have nothing to lose in comparison. We should be able to critically look at ourselves, our communities, and the way we engage. We can step away from blind loyalty that harms us and those around us. We can acknowledge a game's flaws without seeing them as a personal attack. And we can realize that the most impactful change often starts not with the companies, but with us.
In which it's had its fair share of extremely toxic discourse over its years, but ever since the release of Wuthering Waves as well as Natlin, I feel like it's been taken to a whole other level. And no, even though I'm mostly going to be defending Hoyoverse games in this video, the Hoyoverse communities are not at all innocent either. It is most definitely a problem on all sides, with the Kartha Thea discourse before a gameplay came out, as well as whenever Hoyoverse players brigade the Wuwa livestreams, which I hope we can all agree is bad and childish. I'm just able to resonate more with the extremely negative sides of the Hoyoverse discourse more because I play Hoyoverse games. Now, before Wuthering Waves even released, there is really...
Now, no matter what company or game you choose to rally around, at the end of the day, I think it's really worth noting that it's just business. And the main function of a business is to make money. Even more so with a live service model because they need to make money as long as they want to remain active. In fact, the argument can be made that live service models are more after your time than your money. More time spent means the chances of you spending money increases, jeopardizing the free-to-play status and narrative that seems to saturate the community. Like, think of it like a grocery store. Most are modeled and structured in such a way that you take the longest route from entrance to checkout. The reason being, you're more likely to see more things you're interested in or want to buy. If out of sight, out of mind is true, then the exact opposite makes sense. The longer you're in the store, the more likely you are to spend more money than you originally thought. Let's say, for example, you're a hardcore free-to-play player. Well, then your problems increase 2 or 3-fold because you're giving up your time and you can't afford not to. Missing a day or event means missing out on exclusive rewards or currency that you can't gain again. If you have a job, so what if you spend $5 on a subscription that gives you daily rewards on top of the daily grind? You can always make that money back. But time is the currency that you can't get back. It's the currency that every company wants, not just gacha. We're talking social media platforms, video sharing platforms, restaurants, retail, music streaming, the list goes on. It sounds contradictory, but being a free-to-play player is arguably more harmful than spending money because not only are you paying with your time, but now you're at the mercy of a company that wants to extract that very thing from you, and they have no moral incentive to do anything about it. You can say it's just a gacha game all you want. The truth is, it's business. A company has no morals. It's a company. It just has objectives and wants to meet them. To remain in business, to remain profitable, so that people that run the business can be accountable to those that actually fund them.
Because they want to see how many people actually just are playing their game because of brand loyalty more than anything. And I think brand loyalty is hella strong nowadays, more so than ever. And Gacha Tribalism is just pushing that on, it's fueling it. This is why these companies probably want Gacha Tribalism, because it creates bigger fanatics for their specific brand, right? Like, is it great to have normal players? Sure, but it's even better to have fanatics who are obsessed and would go fight tooth and nail on social media against other brand fans, you know? It's like K-pop fans. Yeah, exactly like K-pop fans. Like, we are unironically just creating cults around each fucking company that you're a fan of.
Hello. Thank you so much for listening to my video. I appreciate you listening all the way through, and I appreciate any time that you've donated towards this little passion project of mine. That being said, I am looking to improve myself, so if you do have any feedback for me, please leave it in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to look at them. And if you have any suggestions for any future videos or things that I want to talk about and discuss or just dive deeper into, I'd love to also talk about that as well. Thank you so much. This has been Vaughn Stone, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Live well.